Have you heard of the Smiths game before? Since not many people who played it proudly talk about their experience, I'll try my best to explain. Rules. Pick anyone that you personally know. It can be a colleague, a teacher, any acquaintance or a friend. You can pick freely. For reasons that will soon become clear, you might want to think about whether it's better to choose someone you don't like too much, or someone you have a trusting relationship with. Either way, you need to know their phone number, because you start the game by calling them. If the person doesn't pick up their phone, you can choose whether you want to back out of playing the game. This will be your only opportunity to do so. Or try again with another person. If they answer the phone, it all depends on how believable you are. You have to convince the other person that the Smiths attacked you and are now in your house. The goal is to make the other person believe your story without them calling the police. You have 7 minutes for that. The more information about the Smiths and their story you can make the other person listen to and believe, the more bonus points you get. I'll explain those in a second. If the other person hangs up or still doesn't believe you after 7 minutes, you lose the game. Some might argue that this is the unluckiest outcome of the game. In that case, the actual Smiths will appear behind your back, kill you, and proceed to murder everyone else in the house too. If the person does believe you, but still hangs up before 7 minutes are up, or if they call the police, you lose the game too. But in this instance, the Smiths will leave the youngest person in your house alive, untouched. If you're the only person in the house, though, they will still kill you. If the person you called believes your story and hasn't called the police after 7 minutes of call duration, congratulations, you win the game. You can now end the call. As soon as you hang up, the Smiths will appear in front of you. As your prize, they will reward you by making one wish come true for you. You now have an optional way to influence your prize. If you tell the Smiths the address of the person you called before, the wish can be anything you want. Beware of phrasing. That can be twisted into something negative. Don't try to lie to them by giving them a different or even fake address. That would automatically make you lose. If you give them the real one, the Smiths will kill everybody at the address, including the person you were on the phone with. If you don't give them the address, your wish has to be something realistic and theoretically achievable purely by human ambition. There is no set of rules or any known definition as to what the Smiths consider realistic, but it's advised not to provoke them by testing out the limits of what is possible. If you wish wisely, your wish will come true and the game is over. This would probably be the best possible outcome for you. Bonus points. The more details about the Smiths you tell the person you're on the phone with, the more bonus points you get. The info should be in line with what is actually known about the Smiths. See below. So, making stuff up doesn't count. But it also doesn't disqualify you. Bonus points will grant you the possibility to describe your wish to the Smiths in more detail. With 0 bonus points, you have to make your wish clear in one single sentence, hopefully allowing no room for misinterpretation. The more bonus points you get, the longer the Smiths will let you explain, and the less likely it is that they will intentionally twist your wish into something bad. It is very much advised to try to collect bonus points. The Smiths story. Of course, to collect these bonus points, you need to know who the Smiths are, so I'll do my best to include everything I remember about them. The Smiths are a family of 4. On first glance, they appear to be your perfect conservative family. Father, mother, son, and daughter. As I said, not many people talk openly about their experience with the game, so I can't guarantee for descriptions that have been gathered. According to the few witnesses, the Smiths all kinda look alike. They're said to be tall, all having light blonde, almost white hair and pale skin, but dark eyes. The Smiths are very much not alive anymore, but they once were. Decades ago, they happily lived a normal life together, not attracting much attention, liked by the neighbours, but not well known. Until one day, sometime during the 1960s, the daughter, Hannah Smith, committed suicide. The 12-year-old girl was found by her father, her dead body still sitting at her desk, her wrists cut open, blood all over the school homework in front of her. Even though the kitchen knife that she had used was lying directly by her side, her father and older brother refused to believe it was suicide. That didn't fit into the perfect image of sweet Hannah that they wanted to preserve. Rage filled them and drove them into seeking revenge for her death. Hannah had been beautiful, and despite being young, she had been admired by many. She was a modest and well-behaved girl, so she had turned down every invitation to go out, never getting involved with any admirers. Father and son Smith went out and confronted young men that they suspected to have liked Hannah. They blamed them for killing her, out of hurt pride. At first, they convinced themselves they only wanted to get a confession, using only a bit, and often a bit too much, torture. But soon, father and son dropped that excuse and just went out night after night, straight up murdering young men who they blamed for Hannah's death. No death ever satisfied their need for closure. The mother was left home alone with her grievous thoughts, knowing what the men were doing, but not wanting to think about it. She blamed herself for Hannah's death, because she had told her daughter over and over again to do well in school, to do better and even better. Silently, she'd been hoping that with a good career, Hannah would one day be able to have a nicer and more independent life than she herself was living. The only explanation the mother could think of was that she had put too much pressure onto the young girl. In her deep guilt over her loss, the mother finally followed Hannah by committing suicide too. When father and son came home to find the mother dead on the floor, they were unable to accept what really happened. Their bitter pain had long turned them into monsters, And this was the tipping point of no return. They kept killing, in the search for a culprit they could blame. Until one night, they found themselves surrounded by armed police forces. The father, head of the now broken Smith family, would rather go down than admit to his wife, his son, or even to himself that the times he had secretly visited Hannah's bedroom at night might have been what caused her death. And so, instead of surrendering, he charged at the police, screaming about justice for Hannah, causing him and his son to get shot by the officers. The family tragedy has kept the Smiths unable to find peace. While the women want to offer people a chance at a better life, the men are violent and destructive forces. So together, they made up the game's rules. Mother and daughter trying to offer the player a fair chance to win a good prize, and father and son trying to make it so difficult that they would get to satisfy their lust for death. All of them want their story to be remembered. Mother and daughter as a warning. Father and son to attract more players. If you have read this far, I want to be honest with you. There is one more rule that I have left out in the beginning. You will understand why in just a moment. If you lose the game, you have one lifeline. After you lose, you have 1 hour to get at least one person, preferably more, to learn the Smith's story. For every person you tell the story to during that hour, you will get spared for 1 more hour. You basically collect additional lifeline hours. So, if you manage a storytelling chain, it could potentially keep you alive for quite a while. If you are either smart or get lucky, you can use that time to play the game again, to win, and say, wish for your lifetime back. Before you go to spread the word though, you need to know one important thing. The people who get to know the story through you will fall victim to the Smiths, unless they play their game and win. By now, you probably see what I did. I want to say I'm sorry, but I know that won't matter to you. I just want to live. I'm a bad actor. I lost the game. The person I called didn't believe a word I said, and they hung up after 2 minutes. Maybe you can understand why I did what I did. I just want to live. I just wanted to reach as many people as possible. I don't know if I could even play the game again. I just want a few more hours. I spent the better part of my lifeline hour typing this. It's my only shot. All that I can do now is post this and hope someone reads it in time. And if you did read this, remember the rules and good luck.